Hey, hello, peoples. Yes. Now some of you, or most of you who know me, um, will know it. I am a very big Captain America fan. Okay. No, yeah, and though it's mostly I mostly came through it to the movies. Now, one of the things about Captain America, especially the Steve Rogers version, is that his profile really did not. It's just mom downstairs. Easy. Yeah, sorry. I maybe my dad's cat, maybe my cat, is behind the monitor here. Um, so, and she's picking her head out because we had a delivery this morning and all that fun stuff. Anyway, yeah, but still, yeah, Steve Rogers, great character, superhero. Um, and now there are some issues. Now this is not. I'm not. Now I have nothing against um Chris Evans personally. Now I still think that though personally, I think that, especially since his initial contract was pretty much guaranteed to last long enough to, how do I put this, to see at least two presidencies. I think that he should have, I think they should have included a clause that no matter what your personal opinions of the whatever whoever succeeds the then current president Barack Obama, um, no matter what your opinions on the matter, do not badmouth them until your contract has expired. But that's a detail. I personally, I'm not going to get involved in that here. Like I said, what I'm talking about is like a lot of people misunderstand him. But so anyway, it's fun. No, and there's also this book. This came out around the time of the second film. Um, this came around. This came out right around when Winter Soldier was set to hit theaters, and it's fun. I mean, I hadn't. I mean, I got it right away. I've had this for a while, which is not new. And it's one of those things where for various reasons I've never actually gotten around to actually reading it all the way through for whatever reason. And I really don't know why that is, because it's rather odd. But it goes into it's basically it talks about how how the mainstream media portrays Captain America, well, the Steve Rogers version, really, as quaint and behind the times, as it were. Um, but still, that's not why we're here. Yeah, and another thing, um, and I'm going to get this out, is when I was talking about, I was going to talk about something else for a bit, but yeah, but still, I do think that but there's also the fact that you've had, like I said, a big part of it was a big part of why the MCU was such a gamble at first was they started with Iron Man of all characters, and as most of you are sure are well aware by now, Iron Man was viewed for the most part as the the antagonist essentially of the of Marvel's Civil War arc back in 2006. So naturally, when the film was naturally when Marvel announced that they were doing a film version um, in 2007, it did not go over spectacularly well um, with the public. And then, of course, there's the fact that they had the Death of Captain America arc less than started was started less than a month after the announcement. But still, yeah, there's that to consider that it was in. Now, well, while Tony Stark was portrayed more or less as a neutral in that one, it was still not as favorable as it could have been. And there's also the fact that with an event comic, especially a major one where several, especially with major ones especially with major one like that with tie-ins and different writers writing different books, it can get rather convoluted quickly. Yeah, still. But yeah, like this was dealing with still, yeah, a big part of it is that people seem to not realize that you really need to, especially in this day and age where we are more divided than we have been since where we are more divided now than at any point in human history, really, because and a big part of it is the fact that cable TV and all the niche channels um, and also social media groups where you can find anything that caters to your individual tastes and like I said, my parents said that grew up in a time when everyone, well, almost everyone had the same basic four channels. You know, NBC, right? Yeah, NBC, CBS, ABC, and your local PBS member station if you had one of those. And for the most part, the programming was going to be the same across the board. But although they did have syndicated shows, but beyond that, yeah, yeah. Sorry, yeah, my allergies have been acting up again. Um, but yeah, I mean, but still. But nowadays, I mean, like I said, it really is going the shit because another thing that Marvel has really seen a resurgence as of late because back in the 90s I leaned more towards was more because I was more exposed to the DC comics and it was mostly due to the animated shows on TV. I did watch Spider-Man the animated series and Avengers United They Stand, but that still did not give exposure to a lot of what Marvel now considers their real heavy hitting lineup. Until the MCU started up, my main exposure to Captain America was via what was it? Oh yes, it was through Marvel Ultimate Alliance was really my main exposure to the character, and that one takes a lot of liberties in a lot of ways. But yeah, but still, yeah, but that's not. But like I said, if I mean, I'm sure that was for a lot. I'm sure that happened with a lot of people besides myself. Um, but yeah, I mean, I did. Another thing, which is fun, is that when I discovered digital comics, that was. I mean, the first digital comic I ever bought personally was the first volume of the first collection of the Winter Soldier run. Um, yeah, I mean, and I got that in 2014 on the eve of my 25th birthday. So yeah, um, and that was one of those things where I said, guys, I've been toying with getting that sort of thing for a while, but I just never got around to doing it for whatever reason. Um, and like I said, and most of my digital comic library is either centered around or features Captain America in some form. I mean, As it the one standalone, the one thing I have digitally that does not feature Captain America at all is the first part of the 2009 Iron Man relaunch that that came out right on the heels of the first film. Um, and even that was relatively late in the game. But anyway, yeah, like I said, the death of Captain America made worldwide news for a reason. Because he was such a, because that was such a, I mean, and even so, the, like I said, yeah, and even so, I did not really get. I did eventually get that, but not for a number of years after. It was also because of the fact that it was so damn hard to find for a number of years. You couldn't get it any. I couldn't find it anywhere, and it was not the lack of trying on my part. It was just hard to get your hands on. Um, but yeah, like I said, it's not that. I mean, it's essentially, um, yeah, and like I said. Yeah, and but still, Captain America, he's seen as he's usually portrayed as being quaint, or he was until recently portrayed for the most part as being a quaint throwback um, to a simpler time, if you want to call it that way. I personally don't know. I mean, like I said, I don't know. I mean, like I said, I think part of the problem was that until the movies came out, until they started making the movies, the exposure for the because like I said, because Spider-Man and the X-Men and the Fantastic Four were the flagship brands for a while, and that says something. Um, until Marvel Studios started doing their in-house stuff, a lot of which I think that's part of the problem is that the exposure levels of, like, say, Spider-Man in particular, because Spider-Man was considered the flat was one of the standard bearers for Marvel as a whole for decades, even before the films um, came out, and the same goes to an extent with the Fantastic Four, because the Fantastic Four um, were what really put Marvel back on the map after is that was essentially what yeah, sorry. Um, you know, we have cats, as you know. Yeah, I mean, but still, I mean, and one thing, yeah, I mean, there's also the fact that you're going to find, so you've also had a lot of exposure for other characters. You know, like Black Panther has gotten mainstream attention for the first time in decades, really. Um, yeah, and like I said, there's also the fact that you have actually a copy of this one, and this one is something that I really do think that this needs to be remastered for current generation for the Xbox One and the PS4, because I mean this is a fun game. It's frustrating as hell at some parts, especially when you get to the Baron von Strucker. It's good God, it's really difficult to get past. Yeah, I mean, it'd be fine if they only like if he didn't come back at full strength after your first if you're and it'd be fine if you could recover your if you could recover after if you could fully recover after you beat him the first time and then he comes back up on the elevator. But no, they don't let you do that. That would make sense. But still, yeah, I mean, and this does include this does have Chris Evans and Sebastian Stan in it. I don't know if they get Hugo Weaving to reprise his role or if his role is even involved. I don't know. I mean, it's one of those things where I haven't gotten a chance. I haven't broken this out in a while. But still, yeah, I might actually play it again some today. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, like I said, that's one thing. And there's also the fact that yeah, there's also, like I said, there's a couple of things. Like I said, and this is I mean, it's well done. I mean, yeah, it's well done. It's listen, there are a few things that probably, and I will admit that there are some things that you can't do anymore. Trying to think. Yeah, like I said, there's also, and the thing is, yeah, it's one of those fun. It's one of those fun things where I don't know. Yeah, let's see. I'm trying to. Yeah, there's not really that much else here. Yeah, but still, like I said, Captain America is great and all, but it is, and the thing is, for the most part, until they had that Hail Hydra arc from a couple of years back, they really did not play the political angle very often. I mean, there was that one time when he became disheartened with I think it was the Nixon administration at that point, where because of just how high up where it was implied that then President Nixon was a supervillain and it was not, and that caused Roger and that caused Cap to um, and that caused Cap to lose faith in the country to the point that he essentially resigned his commission um, and also gave up gave up. He didn't give up heroics, but he did give up being Captain America. So yeah, that's one of those things where you do. Yeah, like I said, yeah. If you can find this, play it. It's fun. It came out. It came out alongside the first film, the first Avenger. And like I said, it's fun. It's frustrating, and especially with some of the boss fights because I mean, and there's also the fact that for whatever reason, I just hate time events, and that is a big part of the boss fights in this. And this has a lot of it's not to the extent as say early God of War or Tomb Raider or the Tomb Raider reboot level, but it does get a bit frustrating at times. To the point that I really do wish that there was a way to skip those, you know. Um, but good God, it's annoying. Yeah, and like I said, it's fun. So there's not much else to discuss on that. Um, let's try to think. Yeah, like I said, there's not. Like I said, it's more of those. But still, I mean, yeah. So right, that's it. I will stop this right now and come back later. All right. So bye.